the ground shake.
What's up guys, Aussie Monster here, and today I'm just going to show you guys my little three-step process into, I don't know what you'd call it, reducing the hesitation of the WRX. So these cars have a couple of little issues. One, the stock airbox, the clips break on the bottom and you get dust and dirt and grime on your airflow sensor because the lid doesn't shut down tight enough on that panel filter to stop all of the air coming through the little gap at the very bottom. So that's the first problem. Second problem is there's a little bit of a spark hesitation. Now that could be just due to the airflow sensor correcting it in the ECU. It could be the plugs are a little dirty, maybe a little fouled up. Also the injectors, it just feels like they're a little clogged up and a little gunky. So today I've got three different liquid moly fixes here. We've got an injector cleaner, we have an airflow sensor cleaner, and we have a petrol engine decarb. It's a lot like the Subaru one. I think in the States they sell something called Seafoam, which does something very similar. The other thing is I have a power steering leak. I rebuilt the power steering pump, but there's still a little bit of a leak out of the edge of the hose, so I'm going to run a little bit of Lucas rack and pinion stop leak, and we'll see how that goes. So first things first is we're going to whack the petrol injector cleaner into the fuel tank. So you want to make sure that you've got a full tank of 98. I don't think you guys over in the States have 98, so whatever the highest octane you can get is. If you're in Japan, it'll be 100 octane. We don't have 100 octane here in Australia anymore. We have 98 maximum. We've got E85 as well. But yeah, so let's get this done. And it's as simple as that. So we'll just let that drain into the full tank of fuel, and the liquid moly stuff is really good, and it's going to help clean off those injectors and the rest of the fuel system. Done. So that is my quick fix for fixing up the fuel injectors. Eliminates hard starting, lean surging and hesitation. And the lean surging and the hesitation is what I've got at the moment, especially on full throttle as that boost comes up. The second issue that I've got at the moment is my airflow sensor. Now the airflow sensor unfortunately gets clogged up. The clips on mine are broken. I'm probably going to get a cold air intake, but at the moment YouTube's not paying me enough, if anything at all. So yeah, let's get in and do that. So on the 2000 to 2007, I think it is, the airflow sensor is here. I took one screw off. I should probably have unplugged this first. It's just a little push tab, you pull it off, undo the other screw, making sure not to drop them, otherwise you'll have to pull the engine bay apart just to find them. Alright, so as you can probably see here, if the camera decides to focus, this is the airflow meter, and basically down in there you can see those two little wires there. They're just like a little diode. Sometimes they'll get a little bit of dust on them, and sometimes you'll actually see a little bit of dust in around here, especially if that's your problem. Now in the air you have a lot of contaminants, so often you will actually even just get road grime in on there. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the liquid moly and we're going to spray it down in here. We're going to spray it down in there, and we're just going to clean the whole thing up. Now I'm not sure what's in these holes. There might be a temperature sensor in there, but I'll spray it in there as well. So let's do that now. Okay, so literally we're just going to shake up the can of airflow sensor cleaner, pull off the cap, and we're just going to hold it on an angle so it drips down, spray it in, making sure not to actually hit the little bits inside there. You can actually see that there is another, if I can bring it up here, there's another little sensor in here. You want to clean that as well. Cool. Now, it is nice and clean. So basically we are just going to sit that there for now. It will just start to evaporate nice and quickly, and then we'll fit it back in. Alright, so while the liquid is starting to evaporate off there, we're just going to give it a little bit of a shake and whack it back in. Also, make sure that the seal here is in good condition, otherwise you can replace it. It's just a little O-ring. So we're going to whack this back in. Making sure that that seal is in there properly. Now there's one other thing that can cause the low boost issues and some of the hesitation issues. Now I've already repaired this, and it's actually the hoses to the boost control solenoid. So if you see these blue lines here, you've got one that goes to the T-piece of the turbo, one that goes to your intake, and they both run up to your boost control solenoid, which is over on the left, and sorry for the jittery camera, it's just in behind here, boost control solenoid. Check those hoses and just make sure that they're not cracked. If they are cracked, just replace them. Now generally you won't have the thicker one here, it'll have a little restrictor about here, but I just did a larger line all the way to the bottom. But yeah, check them and she'll be apples. Alright, now let's move on to the decarb. Alright guys, so we've got the liquid moly petrol engine intake decarb. I'm just going to pull the wrapper off, which might be easier said than done. Okay. So you can see here on the intake we have one little pipe going through here. You can do one or two things. You can remove the intercooler to throttle body hose and you can put it in that way, or you can just undo this, push it down, wiggle it down, and then work the little hose through. Or in this case, the little hose is not the right size. Alright, be right back. I'm just going to get a little bit of hose just so I can fit it onto there. Be right back. Okay, and I'm back. Now I've just got a little bit of silicone hose here. I'm just going to slide it on. And I'm going to feed this in. And we just spray, say, 60% of the contents in. And then we start it up. Cool, so I've got that sprayed in most of the bottle. Cool, so we've got most of the bottle sprayed in, so now we're just going to give it a start up. Basically all of those liquids are now going all over the pistons, the valves, everything. What I might actually do is leave it that for a minute. So I'm going to leave it like that for a minute, let it soak into the pistons and the valves. And while that's doing that, I'm going to do the stop leak. So I've got just a slight leak at the back of the power steering pump. The reservoir's gone down about a quarter. Cool, I'm going to sit that there. And we're just going to top it up with this Lucas stop leak. And just fill it up to the cold line. And that's that done. Now let's see if we can get this started. So if you guys have never seen what this stuff does, it smokes up. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to spray it in short bursts with the revs at around 2500 RPM. Cool, that can is now empty. We're just going to whack that vacuum line back on. And there we go. Now, just bring this to the back of the car. Now, while it does its thing, you're going to get a little bit of carbon smoke. It's also from the mixture when you actually change the mixture due to the extra fluid. And you just hold it at around 2,500 RPM for a couple of minutes. Give it a few revs and blips. Let it do its thing until it starts to go clear. And that is that, guys. So we've decarbed the engine, we have put in some injector cleaner, and we have cleaned the airflow sensor. So now I do this every 10,000 Ks, or whenever the car starts to feel like it's hesitating a bit. Always clears it up. So yeah, I'm going to take this for a drive now and just get rid of all of that smoke that's coming out of the exhaust, all the carbon deposits. And yeah, everything will be good. So yeah, if you guys like this video, don't forget to hit the like button down below, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace, guys.